Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Brianna.
Welcome to the Readers Clubhouse, where we revisit our childhood favorite content.
Guys, today we have a guest.
We
It's
have a guest.
A guest.
Brianna, we
It's a
need a
very dear
guest
friend.
song.
You need a guest song? That's a you job. You'll figure that out. I trust you. So we
Teardrops on
have a
my
guest
guitar.
today. Yeah. We have a guest today. Our lovely friend Emily is
Woo, woo,
here with
woo.
us. Can you say hi, Emily?
Hey, what's up?
The ceiling,
Not much.
the sky, probably some
Yes.
clouds, potentially some
So
rain.
many. It's been sunny here today, so I mean,
True.
you live literally a couple of towns away from me, so
Who?
Probably the same.
both of you actually, right within a radius of each other.
This is
Uh,
true.
so as per usual, guys, yes, we do have a guest, but we're gonna do our transition question first. And today we are going to talk about secret treasure.
Secret
Uh,
treasure.
I knew I shouldn't have used the word secret because it always sets you off.
Every time.
This is very general. It's a little bit up to interpretation. But I'll start off because I'm gonna get my secret shame out of the way. Uh,
Ooh.
yes. So when I was younger, I loved to find things and play with them and everything because I was a pretty creative child, all that fun stuff. Now, there's an item that I found at one point when I was like late elementary school, early middle school, maybe. And Dad will never let me forget that I've played with this quite often. I found a giant stick.
Oh, it's sticky.
The stick, yeah. And it was huge. It wasn't even probably actually a stick. It was like a board, let's be honest.
Like a
Oh,
walking stick or
No,
like
it
just a
was
like a
plank?
2x4?
it was I don't rem I have this like weird image of it being this like large gray straight edge thing. I don't even remember. So the time has like messed with my memory of what it actually was. I just call it a stick, and that's what Dad always calls it when he references it and stuff. Uh, and and I played with that thing all the time. I carried it around. I don't remember what happened to it. Childhood trauma. Thank you for making me forget certain things. But
Woo!
woo. So that was something I just like discovered. This is when we lived in Everett when it's like right after Dad and her stepmom got married and everything. So it's like that time period of my life, kind of crazy stuff
Mhm.
going on, and this stick really helped me get through some things, I guess.
You
So
bonded
Emotional
emotionally
support
with the stick.
stick.
yeah, po emotional support stick. Yeah. So
Emotional
that's
support two
my
by four.
yes,
Oh,
emotional support. I
every
mean,
girl
I'm
needs
not the
one.
every girl. I mean, what was that Ed, Ed and Eddie show that kids
Yes, I was
had?
just thinking about that.
Yeah, he had plank, so I'm
Mhm.
like he was a genesis apparently for this as a
Wow.
bit of it. I don't even know. So yeah, that's my secret shame is my stick friend, I guess. I don't even
You
remember.
definitely don't have to be ashamed about that, Brianna.
I appreciate it. I mostly say that as a funny thing, more
Of
like
course.
what I do not feel ashamed that I played with a stick as a kid when I was going through some things. So, but it's
Good.
still funny to call it that and
Yes.
stuff. So,
Agree.
we're gonna go to Emily next.
So I guess you have sticks and I have stones. 'Cause for me it was probably rocks. I
Yes.
had a phase in like first grade. I think we did some field trip or something in school, and this was like in a different state. This was in San Diego. I don't remember what, but I
Mm,
got fixated on crystals and like
Mm.
ooh,
finding crystals. But that would
yes.
lead me to like digging through rocks in the playground to find anything that looked kind of sparkly. I would just
Oh yeah.
assume it was a crystal. So probably just a bunch of random rocks. I think one of the most fun things was like going to a touristy area where they sell those bags and you can fill them up with like smooth
Ooh.
pebbles and stuff that are all colorful.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best. I had a jar full of those rocks for ages. They might be somewhere in my parents' house. I guess not rotting because they're rocks, but
They're rocking.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I definitely had like a phase with rocks and like bringing them home in my backpack. My mom
Oh.
would be like, "What, do you have rocks in your backpack?" And then I did. I think eventually I
Yeah.
stopped doing that because I didn't want to disappoint her, but
Oh.
well, also I probably was tired of carrying the rocks too. I kind of moved on from that phase.
Yeah.
So I think for me, for a long time, it was like finding fun rocks or like if you're at the beach, like looking for a sand dollar,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, the sea
Love that.
glass.
I guess kids just like
Us.
rocks and sticks. Nothing
Yeah.
changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, I still like rocks and sticks. Let's be real. Anytime I'm
Literally, as an
outside.
adult, I sometimes still just like, this is a cool rock, and then I'll
Mhm.
keep it forever and
Yeah,
stuff. So
absolutely.
love that. That was really great, Emily. I loved that. Kaylin, your turn.
Gosh. It's hard because I am a kind of a collector of random things. I'm looking in my room right
Yeah.
now, like all the random crap that I have. Um, let's see. Probably from my childhood, thinking about it was I don't remember where I found it. It was either given to me as a present or I found it at a Goodwill or something like that. But it was this little clock thingy, but it was a clock set on this like rock thing and it had wolves around it. And because
Of
I
course.
was a wolf girl when I was a child, I loved that and I had it up. I don't even remember if I ever actually put a battery in the clock to make it work. I just remember it had like 4 or 5 wolves around it. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I only got rid of it 2 years ago. I think I'd stored it in my stuff before I moved overseas. And then when I came back, I feel like we were going through my stuff, Brianna, and we saw it, but maybe I
Oh,
misremembered.
maybe.
I
We
don't
went through a
remember.
lot of stuff during
There's a lot
that
of stuff.
time.
I got
There was
like
a lot.
6 bags or boxes or whatever to Goodwill. So go,
Yeah.
Caitlin. Yeah. I mean, other than that, I don't know. I've got. I also get given a lot of things by children because my work generally involves kids, and so it's
Yeah.
just I've got like 3 pictures up on my wall that are from kids. One of the kids I live with gave me a fake golden rock, also a broken disco ball.
Of
One of
course.
them gave me this like wooden cupcake toy thing. I was like, I don't want this, but I'm not gonna be
Can't really
like,
turn them down.
I literally can't. This
No.
necklace, she made this for me. We were hanging out and she made this necklace for me, and I was like,
Oh, a little bead necklace.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't, I don't want it anymore, but I can't get rid of it. So I'm just gonna sneak
They'll
it back into her
remember.
bead
They'll
stash.
ask later down the line if you still have it.
Yep.
Yep, yep. So that's
Too
me.
true. Love it. Those are great treasure stories. I love all of them.
Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna go a little bit deeper into who our guest is today.
Ooh,
So wow, I lost my thing, sorry. So like I said, our friend Emily is here. Emily, we've known each other like probably like 5-ish years now, because we met when Lee and I lived together, and you've
Yeah, I
been
met you
friends
guys
with
like five
Lee.
years ago, like right
Yeah,
before COVID.
yes,
We
yeah.
played a game of
We
Monster of the Week, and then
That's
we
what it
weren't able to
was.
finish it because COVID happened.
Yeah. COVID ruined a lot of
wait,
things. Thanks,
was I there
COVID.
for that?
I could have
Yeah,
sworn you were. It was earlier on into us living together, so very likely you were a part of that game, Galen.
Caitlin was definitely there.
Okay. I have a very distinct memory of Fawn trying to eat a dice. It probably
That was
tasted like
also
pizza.
Fawn's like first day at the house.
I forgot about that.
Because I
It all
remember going with Lee like right after she just had picked up her dog. So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
5 years. Wow.
Yeah,
I
that's a
do
lot of
not
time.
remember this. I have no memory of this at all.
I mean, a lot happened, so like everybody kind of forgets certain things. It's random. But yeah, so we've known each other for 5-ish years. We're a part of the same kind of larger friend group and everything. Um, so what kind of give us like a rundown of at least what the to an extent you're comfortable with of like kind of what you do, Emily, and like whether it's work or like the art stuff you do, whichever one you want to focus on, or both.
Yeah, so I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Emily. I teach English to adults. I teach ESL. That's my day job. And outside of work, I like to do a lot of creative things. I usually make art, digital, watercolor, that kind of thing.
It's beautiful stuff, honestly.
I agree.
I guess I'm also like a gamer girl. I don't know if that's the right way to
Yeah.
put it, but
Absolutely own it, yes.
I do play a lot of video games. And I hang out with my cats, which I'm surprised one of them's not crying outside of my door right now, but that's actually a good thing.
The time will come.
The time will come. My cat also was just bugging me, but I think she's chill now. All right. So what is your relationship with reading? What's been your kind of reading journey, I guess, so far?
I think like a lot of people, I had probably a better relationship with reading as a kid.
Mm,
Uh, I I feel like probably like like late elementary and middle school is probably like where I was like the strongest reader as
yeah.
far as like how often I was reading and how fast I was reading.
Mm.
I think that started to change in like high school when you have to start reading for school. And so a
Yeah.
lot of the times when you're reading, it's for an assignment. And
Yeah.
outside of that and all the other like extracurriculars and studying and stuff you have to do for school, there wasn't as much time for just reading for fun. It was also kind of when like all of the Twilight knockoffs and like dystopian Hunger Game knockoffs were coming out.
Yeah.
And I think I just thought I was too good for young adult fiction because I would read it and I would just think it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Usually it was like how
Yeah.
the main characters were written to be really cliche, and the relationships always had really terrible pacing.
Mm.
And so I'd usually end up getting like hate reading the book until I
Oh,
finished it.
yes, Emily, I'm the same.
And
Oh,
even to this day, I struggle a little bit with young adult fiction. Um,
mhm,
I
Yeah.
tend to like kind of just above that or like middle grade.
mhm,
Not
Yeah.
to say there
Same.
aren't good young adult books out there,
mhm.
because there definitely are. And there's also a lot of young
Absolutely.
adult books that, or books put in the young adult section at like bookstores and libraries that aren't young adult,
Oh yeah.
but because they're popular, get mistaken as young adult,
Yeah.
um, which can be interesting because that's kind of intended for teenagers, but also like people in their younger 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess kind of after college, I don't feel like I read for fun much in college.
Mhm.
Like I just feel like there was not space for that in my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure like after college, I kind of would pick up a book here and there. And
Mm.
then more recently, in the past like probably 4 to 5-ish years, I started listening to a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
really helpful way to get back into reading. I have
Absolutely
ADHD,
agree.
and so what happens to me usually with books is that it's a struggle to get started, and then once I'm in it, it's like almost hard to stop.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like audiobooks are a really good way to get back into things.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been enjoying a lot of audiobooks. But
Yeah.
Brandon's been enjoying a lot more than I have, just generally.
Yes.
But like a
I
lot
have
of
a
our,
yeah, I have a drive to work, so it makes it a
yeah,
little easier for me.
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah. When I move back to the UK, I'll be on buses probably a lot. So,
that's
boom,
a good point.
buses
Yeah.
and trains.
Yeah, it's definitely really good for commuting, for walks, or just like being able to do multiple things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of like I have some books where I'm like, I'll do the audiobook, and other books where I'm like, I want to actually just physically read it.
Yeah.
I found
Absolutely.
that as an
Yeah.
adult, I read more on vacation or like time off
Hmm.
when I'm not in my own home.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
like easier when I'm somewhere else to like not be as distracted or feel like
Yeah.
I need to do something productive.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
And I
I have
guess
a oh sorry, keep going.
I was gonna say I think that actually something I started doing more recently is like revisiting books from my childhood and especially stuff where I started it as a kid and either the series wasn't finished or I just never got around to it and going back and finishing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Hey,
actually something I've been doing as of late.
Love
that's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah, seriously. And it's just really on par with what this whole
Mhm.
podcast is about, honestly, and stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually a really great transition to that. Did you want to say something really quick, Caitlin?
Eh? What?
You were about to say something, and I wanted to make sure you got to
Oh,
say
no,
it.
I was just gonna say that that fits like that's how this podcast became a thing, was both of
Yeah.
us talking about rereading books that we enjoyed as kids. And so it, as Brand said, it's a really great transition into the last question.
Yes, yeah. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about the Unicorn Chronicles. And I had a little bit forgotten about this until like I think late last year when I chatted with you at one point about being a guest. And this you had mentioned wanting to do this. And just for some clarification, guys, the Unicorn Chronicles is a series, and at the moment I think all of us have only recently read or listened to the first book specifically. The rest of them, some of us have read more. Or like Emily, I think you read all of them, just to clarify?
Yes, in the past
Okay,
year, I've listened to the entire series.
Awesome.
perfect. Awesome. That's great.
It's pretty
Kate,
fresh in my brain still.
that actually is so good because for me and Caitlin, that's definitely not the case. I only re-listened to the first book very, very recently. Same thing with Caitlin. And then I don't know, Caitlin, did you remember ever reading any of the other ones at all?
I read the first two, but I
Okay.
went actually before this and I was looking on Wikipedia at like the plot summary, which there's nothing in the plot summaries basically. It's like one line. But the character descriptions in each of the different books, that helped me like realize I definitely only read the first two books
Yeah. Okay. That
at a
makes a lot of
time.
sense. Yeah. So, without getting too deep into the story, plot, characters, and everything, just kind of give a brief summary, Emily, of kind of your relation to this media and what why it kind of kept with you for such a long time.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys might remember the Scholastic Book Fairs.
Oh,
Ooh,
I don't know if
yes.
they still do
they
them, but those
do.
were like
They do.
magic as a
Yeah.
Oh
kid.
yeah.
And I feel like I probably found this book at one of those book fairs.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
it was one that I ended up picking out. I think my mom would usually give me like a tiny bit of money so I could pick out like one thing. And it usually had to be a book. They always had a bunch of other stuff there that was tempting.
yeah.
So it was a little tricky to pick something occasionally, but I do remember whatever edition I had, it was both the first and the second book
Mm.
Okay.
in the same one. And I remember really liking the art
Hmm.
that was
Mm,
on the book.
Hmm.
So that's been really interesting to see also like going back and looking at what the old covers are, and then it's actually been re-released and republished more recently,
yeah.
like again. And now they have even more covers and they split some of the other books up into multiple books because they're quite a bit longer than the first
Yeah.
one. So I'm pretty sure I just read that the first two and then just never got to the ones after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have a odd it's similar but really different about how I ran across this because I have a very distinct memory of how I originally read the first one. And I was at the Everett Library, not the big one that's in like North Everett and stuff, the one that's kind of more further south and everything. Um, but I remember when I was a kid, we went there and they'd had some books that they were selling, is what it was. And I found that book in there. It was a little worn and everything, but it had the cover that had like the black and it was very like shiny and everything. And it was like it drew me to it and it had a unicorn on it. Uh, and that I remember that always stuck out with me. Even though the story itself, like only like tiny bits and pieces stuck with me, me finding it and there really like set it as a strong memory in my brain for some
Yeah.
reason and stuff. So,
Yeah. Looking
uh,
at the old covers
mm,
now, I'm realizing I think what probably happened for me is that I read book two
mm,
before I realized it was a second book, and then I went back and read book one
yeah,
because some of the stuff, because one, the cover of book two, that is what I remember. That's the picture of Into the Land of the Unicorns,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of what I remember too. Although I realized that the same cover for the second book, there are editions that have the first and second with that same illustration. And I
yeah,
think
Okay.
that's the one that I had.
Okay. Maybe I mean maybe I read the same one as you did. Maybe that's why I can remember the first two books is because I read um I don't know what compilation is not the right word, but the first and second because I don't
yeah,
remember the
yeah,
cover of because it's got the main character and the unicorn like she's laying on the ground covered in
yeah,
leaves.
That's the cover I remember. I
That's the one
loved
you
yeah,
that
remember.
cover.
Okay, the one I remember is the one with her holding the golden orb with um Squidgem on her back and the
Oh
unicorn.
yeah,
All
yeah,
four.
that one too.
That's the one.
yeah,
So I think I read the second book at first. I don't know. That's relevant. All I'm saying is I remember I like I've looked at the covers for the republished, which again we'll get into at some point later.
yeah,
Um, but I really I don't know, I really like the original art. I think it's
yeah.
really great.
It was very nice. That was the version that I had was an even earlier version, I feel like, because it was like an older style and everything, and it just had a unicorn on the front, I think.
Mm.
But those ones I think were really big in the early 2000s, that illustrated one.
Yeah.
and stuff because I remember seeing it. We actually always, the bookstore that I work at, we get quite a few copies of the second book, Song of the Wanderer,
Interesting.
and stuff. So I see them quite often.
Yeah.
So,
If
um,
you
I
yeah.
just realized I have the covers.
Oh,
Is this the one
Ooh,
you
nice.
were talking
Yes,
about?
that's the one I'm talking about.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then these are like the style of like the original covers.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually really freaking cool.
It is
Right?
really,
I'm
really
like,
cool.
why don't we still get covers like this? Like, it's kind
Gosh,
of
yeah.
epic.
That is
It literally
so
is.
epic. Man. Is the one the other one you held up, is that the first two books in
I
one, or
don't
is
know
that just book two?
though, because it just is called the Unicorn Chronicles.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it does have both.
Okay. That must be what I read because I remember the story of the first one, but I only remember that cover.
Mm,
That's crazy.
that is crazy.
Brianna, do you work tomorrow?
I do. We definitely don't have a copy of what Emily's got right there.
I know. It's fine.
I'll see what we've got
I
on
don't
hand.
need more books. I every extra book is an extra amount of weight I have to bring with me overseas in a suitcase. So that's
True.
what I keep telling
Yes.
myself.
All
Anyway,
I
right.
just
Brianna, go
listen to
So
the
ahead.
audiobooks on Libby.
there you go. Yeah.
It's true. I want to own them though.
Yeah.
I want to
Caitlin's a little
expand.
gremlin. Okay. So we're going to get into the stats of the book, as we like to
Woo!
call it on here. So, like we said, the title of this whole series is The Unicorn Chronicles. And that I feel like is very self-explanatory about what it's about. It's about stories about unicorns, specifically a specific story being told. The release year is a little bit wonky for some of the things that Emily mentioned reasons. The original book was released in 1994. Caitlin wasn't even born. I don't actually, were you born, Emily? I forget how old you are right
No,
now. Okay,
I think
yeah.
I'm the exact same age as Caitlin.
Okay.
Hey.
So I being old, the oldest slash being old, was two at this point. I've docked myself, I think, now
You've
again.
doxed yourself so many times. And I
Yeah,
love it because the very first episode is like, we're not going to dox ourselves. And then
but it
I'm not
happened.
even the worst person at doing it. It's you.
Yeah, it's already happened. Okay, so but the most recent releases, which I think has something to do with them breaking them up, like you talked about earlier, Emily, were like done in like 2020. So it's like very recently. So yeah. The author is Bruce Coville, very popular middle grade fantasy writer. I don't know if you know this, Caitlin. He's really good friends with Tamora
Mhm.
Pierce. Yeah, so one of our childhood favorite authors. She's referenced multiple times their relationship and everything, and like how they've really like spoken each other's lives, blah blah blah. So Bruce Scoble, like he's been in this for a long time. He's written quite a few other series that people would know that probably have grown up with. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head right now, but like most of you, like a lot of listeners may recognize his name. Now, this specifically is like fantasy. It also has a little bit of a feel of urban fantasy because we do like go to Earth and then there's like magical creatures on Earth or connected to Earth. So it's kind of like as a mix of that fantasy and then urban fantasy feeling to it. And then this is a middle grade book, but there's nothing wrong with that. We can still re enjoy those as adults and everything. So that's something I kind of love about this stuff. Now, I am going to give a very brief summary of book one, so people have like a foundation to go off of, and then m me and you, Emily, are gonna like you're gonna probably mostly like just give us some like maybe uh what's the right way to put this? Like bits of what happens later on down the line. It's okay if you give spoilers. People who are aware of this point, they're going to be spoiled about something. Almost all of these books are like over 10 years old at this point,
True.
or more. So first book, we are introduced. Why can I not remember her name now?
Kara or
Kara,
Kara.
thank you. Kara.
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 Kara, thank you. We were introduced to Kara. Kara is running away from some bad guy with her grandma. Her grandma's like, we gotta go. And they stumble upon on this church, which they've been to before, I believe, if I remember correctly. And shenanigans are happening. Her grandma gives her this like uh was it a it wasn't a locket. It was just
It
like
was an
a
amulet, I
Amulet.
think.
amulet. Thank you. It gives her this amulet that she's always had, and like Kara could never like touch it or anything or something weird. She's like, you gotta get to this. She's like telling her all this stuff that Kara's like, I don't know what that going on and everything, or don't know what's going on. Sorry. I don't know why that slipped out. I apologize. I don't know what's going on. She definitely has a problem. She's only like 12, I think, in
Yeah,
this.
she's like 11 or 12 in the
11 or
first book.
12, yeah. So definitely didn't say what I said. But she gets kind of like her grandma's like, go. And she's like, oh no, I don't want to abandon my grandma. But grandma's like, you gotta go because stuff's coming. Like, we need to get this away from this dude that's chasing them. And she kind of gives these instructions for Kara to jump off a building, basically. And Kara's like, that's crazy. And still goes up there because this guy's chasing her and she's scared. In the kind of the last moment, as this stuff usually happens, she does it and doesn't know what happened behind her and everything. So she gets into this magical place that we come to find out is the land of Luster. And she has a lot of stuff happen to her. She gets attacked by these crazy, like, they're kind of like,
They're like dwarves, but like super
yeah,
evil.
yes, they're like evil dwarves. And it attacks her. She gets saved by what's his name?
The
Can't remember his
Dimple
name.
Thumb.
Dimblethumb. Is Dimblethumb?
Hmm.
Yes. Dimblethumb, really great because he's got the vibe of cranky protective dude.
He's like a bear man.
He's like a
Like
bear
maybe he's
man.
like a
That's right.
Sasquatch or something.
Yes, he
Yes.
slightly made me think of Chewbacca and everything, because he is kind of sassy and grumpy, and it's great. So the Dimblethumb saves her. I think he approaches, or he like calls Lightfoot, which is the first unicorn she runs into, to come help her. And there's like stuff going on. They realize that they have to get the amulet to the queen of the unicorns, which ends up being the person her grandmother told to give it to her in the first place. Lightfoot turns out to be the grandson of the queen, and there's like some family drama going on that we don't actually find out by the end. And a lot of this is like her running around and trying to keep away from this hunter that's coming after her because she learns that the unicorns have been hunted for generations by this specific family of people because something bad happened with their great 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 grandmother, who's still alive, by the way, because she has a piece of a unicorn horn stuck in her body, like near her heart and stuff. So, and her name is Beloved, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Beloved's family's chasing her. And then certain things come to a head, and they have to deal with the dragon, who is under the control of the hunter because he knew where to find the dragon's secret, the thing that could control the dragon. And in that moment, Kara finds out, and this is a plot point that I remembered. I remembered this very distinctly. Turns out the hunter is her dad. And
Dun dun dun.
yeah, so she is one of the hunters technically and everything. So he tries to use his familial connection to draw her in, and she chooses not to fall into that trap. And they eventually are able to make it to the queen, and that's actually technically where the first book ends, is literally that part where she meets the queen and everything. So that's as far as I remember. I know other shenanigans happen later, but I have very little memory of what happens after that, and also haven't read them recently, so I don't even have that to go off of. So, Emily, I'm throwing it to you. What are some other plot points? If you're able to try to keep them kind of like chronological going on, but it's okay if you're not able to fully. And then we want to keep it. This is something you may edit out. We want to kind of keep it under 5 minutes and everything, just so we don't run too much for too long.
Okay. So I think first I do want to step back into the first book
Mhm,
Valid.
and talk a bit more about Beloved
mhm.
and
Okay.
why she is after the unicorns. You actually hear this story from an old dwarf who actually keeps the Unicorn Chronicles. He is in charge
Yes.
of recording history for this world.
Yeah.
And you find out that Beloved, um, in a moment where a unicorn and her father were fighting, her father was trying to steal a horn to heal her because she was very sick. The unicorn was also trying to heal her because you find that they're actually like unicorns are attracted to like people who are sick, especially like young maidens. Like it almost like pulls them like instinctually. And as they're fighting, the unicorn is trying to heal her and it has its horn in her, but his horn breaks off and the piece
Mhm.
sticks in her heart. And so it's damaging and causing pain, but then simultaneously healing her. So she's co in constant pain and agony,
Yeah.
but can't die.
Mm.
And so all this anger goes into wanting revenge and to kill all the unicorns.
Mm.
And so for generations, they've been going after it. And eventually you find out that this is why the unicorns left for Luster.
Mm.
You find more about how Luster was created and some of the background in later books because it is not a old world.
Mm.
Mm.
But this hunting and danger and how humans went after um, magical creatures is why they moved there, including the dragons. The dragons were also originally from Earth, but hunted
Oh.
and went into other worlds and planes of existence.
That's cool.
The other thing to note about the first book is that the dragon gives Kara a boon, the gift of
Oh, that's
tongues.
right.
And so
Mhm.
for the rest of the series, Kara is able to speak with all the different species and characters. And it ends up being super helpful. And I think it's a really cool literary technique to have it make sense for why she can understand everyone
Mhm.
without like knowing their language. So the second book, they are trying to get back in touch with the grandmother. They want to
Okay.
find the grandmother, make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot more run-ins with the hunter. They run into a really sarcastic, like, griffin creature who's like really sassy and overdramatic.
We love those characters.
And we start to hear more and more stories about the grandmother. We come to find out that the grandmother is actually related to the unicorns in a certain way, has this connection. We knew in the past that she had a connection to this world. She was called the Wanderer, but we find out that she was a wanderer before she was human. She actually used to be a unicorn
Oh.
and was wandering around and wanted to go to Earth. And so the queen, her mother, basically gave her an easy out. Like if you need something to save your life, use this. And it turned her into a
Mm.
human when she was in danger in Earth. And she completely forgot about her life as a unicorn.
Oh.
Like
Oh,
got married or there's a couple questions about who she had children with. We think we know who it is, but maybe it's not. It's kind of never cleared up.
interesting.
And
Ambiguous.
so by that knowledge, Kara's mother is also part unicorn, and so is Kara.
Hold on a minute.
Mm.
Does that mean she and Lightfoot are technically cousins?
That's the
Yes,
thing. Oh my gosh.
yes, they are cousins.
Oh no,
That's
this is
really
like
funny.
Star Wars all over again.
The
How's
thing is, yeah, there really is no romance in the books,
Okay.
especially with Kara. Kara's just really young and not even like the whole series takes place while she's very young. Like
Okay.
the series doesn't span like a super long length of time, but a lot of this builds up into a war where the unicorns have to finally stand against the hunters. The
Mm.
hunters are trying to find a way into Luster to end the unicorns once and for all, and the unicorns have to defend their territory. And we come to find out that there's actually a reason why there's even some evil in Luster, and some of the things are even convincing Beloved to be so bloodthirsty. And it's
Mm.
what they call the Whisperer. We find out
Oh.
that the unicorns desire to be perfect, and so they got a magician or a wizard to help them perform a ritual to remove any imperfections. However, that imperfection, all the imperfections form its own being that then
Oh.
whispers for and like tries to manipulate people into doing evil things with promise that they will
Wild.
get what they want. It's very
Okay.
manipulative.
Yeah.
And that kind of blew my mind for like a middle grade book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do it justice with how that's explained, but
Mm.
they introduce a lot of other characters at pretty early on. The father joins back with Kara and leaves the hunters.
Okay, I wondered about that.
There's a whole big side quest of them trying to find Kara's mother, who was
Mm.
kidnapped by the hunters and kind of in like comatose. And they have to like go into another realm to like get her soul back, essentially,
Oh, wow.
like to wake her up.
It's a very
And it
Journey
all
to the
culminates,
Underworld vibes.
well, kind of. It's actually really, I don't know. It's very good,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it all kind of culminates into this big war in the last book. And it gets to the point where the hunters have destroyed this pillar of luster that's going to destroy the whole place. And
Okay.
so the unicorns are trying to prevent this from happening. And they're also trying to pursue Kara because lo and behold, there's some uh because she is of unicorn and of hunter, there are premonitions about her.
Oh.
Well, in a moment when she's running away from the hunters, she runs across this guy who we find out is like sort of a higher being, like not a god, but a higher being that was alongside another higher being that created unicorns to begin with
Oh.
Wild.
and was a part of creating luster. This other character, by the way, was turned into the Dimple Thumb because by creating some of these worlds, the other higher beings punished him by turning him into the Dimple Thumb.
Oh my gosh. No wonder he's grumpy.
Yeah, he's grumpy, but he wants to help them. But
Yeah.
the
Is he?
unicorns don't like him. So, like, you find out that there's all this stuff going on. There's also, meanwhile, centaurs. There's like a centaur battle to the death. And at one point, Kara has to kill the leader of the centaurs because he's
Oh,
so old and
jeez.
can't die. And she's the only one who can kill him. And so this 12-year-old has to mercy kill this old centaur.
Oh my gosh.
Like, there's some wild stuff that happens in this book. But the wildest thing is that when she's on the run from the hunters in one of the last books, she has to turn into a unicorn to escape. So this higher being turns her into a unicorn. Now, the wild thing is you think that they're going to turn her back into a human, but you can't. It is just a one and done. Like, you
Oh
have to
no.
do this. So Kara becomes a unicorn, and
Okay.
it's really interesting because it talks about like some of the things that she lost from being a human, but some of the things she gains from being a unicorn. Like there are times where she jokes with Lightfoot about how she's going to miss having hands.
Oh my gosh.
Valid.
And there's also quite a few character deaths of like unicorns they introduce who end up
Oh.
dying in battle.
That's so morbid.
Yeah, no, I'm like these books get dark. Like they start
For
kind of
middle grade.
lighthearted and shorter and they get longer and longer and darker and darker. Like I think it kind of rivals other middle grade series like Harry Potter in that way.
Mm,
And the author is not as controversial, which is nice.
yes.
There's
True.
also some interesting even some acknowledgement of queer people in it for being an older book.
Oh, interesting.
Very
Okay.
small acknowledgement, but still surprising to me.
Yeah.
These two higher beings are like so close, they call each other like Elohim or whatever. They're like brothers,
Oh.
almost like so close, like beyond being brothers. And
Mm.
Kara's like, okay, so. And he's like, no, not that. Not that anything would be wrong with that, but this isn't how that relationship is. Which was really interesting to me that that was like spelled out in the book.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But
This
they
is the
do
like
end up,
towards the end, right?
yes.
Kind of thing. Okay.
So they do end up saving Luster, but there are a few characters that almost sacrifice themselves to heal the planet and are left in kind of a stasis at the
Whoa.
end. And you
Okay.
don't know for sure if they're ever going to come back to their full selves, but we know that they're there holding the planet together.
Okay.
Um, we find out that the Delvers are actually dwarves that were influenced by the Dark Whisperer from the evil unicorn spirit, and that turned them evil and made them hate the unicorns.
Okay.
So you find out a lot of lore about this world and why it's there. There's more about the dragons. The dragons end up helping the unicorns fight the hunters. There's also a really sad dragon death
Oh
because there was a
no.
dragon that also used to be human and was cursed and turned into a
Oh.
dragon and then turned human again but missed being a dragon. So was able to like did all this stuff to become a dragon again and eventually had to flee to Luster. And she has a Scottish accent. It's great in the
Oh,
audiobook.
awesome.
That's so good. I love that.
Like there's so many like side stories that are so interesting.
Mm.
Like it's wild. And the amount of mercy killings in this is crazy because it ends with a confrontation with Kara in unicorn form. She's reunited with her family and Beloved. And they've defeated the hunters, and it ends with Kara having to kill Beloved, but because Beloved
Mm.
wants that, she's been alive for so long,
Hmm.
and the only thing that can essentially remove the horn and like give her peace is for her to stick the horn right through the heart.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
I'm like, poor Kara's had to like mercy kill so many old beings in this
Yeah.
book,
That's wild.
which is not something you expect reading the
No.
first book. So like the
No.
longer I was listening to the series, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bonkers. Like I hope you guys at some point listen to the other ones because it gets kind of crazy. And Brianna, you like centaurs, so you should listen to it just for the centaurs.
You're right. I will
I,
definitely put on the list. Caitlin already has it on her list for sure and
I'm
everything.
literally going into Libby right now and I'm putting it on. I've got a bunch of flights later this year, and
Hmm.
let me tell you, I mean, the audiobook for Song of the Wanderer is available right now. So
Oh, perfect.
I'm flying to Texas next week, y'all.
Love that. You've already got
Honestly,
something.
it's lighthearted enough that it feels like escapism.
Mm,
And the world building is like surprisingly really good. And
Mm,
interestingly enough, when they split up the books, I think the author lost rights. And so some of the f final books were really hard to get
whoa.
because they stopped printing them. And so when
yeah.
they re-released them, they broke them up to be a little smaller because they got so long near the end. And he
Yeah.
wanted them to be a little more even. He also wrote 7 extra chapters that I have
Of
not
course you
read
did.
in the last 2 books to explain where one character is. I think it was Lightfoot during a part where people are separated. So he
Oh,
actually
Oh,
added to the book when they re-released them,
that's funny.
whoa.
which is
That's
super
good.
cool. And now I'm interested in reading some of his other works.
Yeah. I remember recently because I was looking into stuff, like he has a lot of middle grade, like little series and everything, but I didn't dive too deep into his like if he's written other like more uh like larger
Yeah, I feel
series.
like the only reason this is considered middle grade is because the main character is young.
Yeah,
There's no
absolutely.
swearing, and it starts off a little lighter. However,
Yeah.
in the later books, it gets really dark and kind
Yeah.
of morbid.
Wow.
The
There's a
thing I
scene
think
where an earthquake happens because of all the stuff the hunters are doing. There's earthquakes
Oh,
happening in Luster, while 2 centaurs are fighting for the death for who gets to become the next leader. This earthquake ends up breaking one of the centaurs' legs. These 2 centaurs, by the way, are also best friends, but
oh
this is
no.
their ritual. This is how they choose a new leader. So they're already having
Yeah.
a hard time that they have to fight to the death.
Yeah.
And just like how horses, when they break their legs, often get put down, this centaur asks to be put down by his best friend, has to say
I'm
goodbye to his
sorry,
lover,
what?
this other centaur woman, like says goodbye to him, and then he has to kill his friend and
Oh my
become the
God.
leader. So
Wow.
like some of these side stories, I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's a lot.
this isn't middle grade anymore. This is just fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
interesting. It's interesting though, because I'd say like even in the first book, nothing like that really happens. But like one of the things that really stuck out to me, and that's actually a good way to transition to our next bit where we kind of break down certain things about the story. Um, we have a part like right after Lightfoot shows up and everything. He tries to heal her, but like it part of the thing is he can't fully heal her because she has these like I say dark emotions, but it's like dark in that like she was traumatized by the fact that her parents disappeared or left or whatever had happened to them and everything. And that was like a big thing to see. Like is I know like other sorry, there was a motorcycle. Um there's like other like sometimes middle grade stuff can tackle hard themes, but like that was a lot because that basically was saying Kara's depressed and she is still struggling with those feelings and everything. And that was such an interesting thing to drop in the first bit of the story and stuff. And then dive headfirst into, whoa, crazy, your dad's the bad guy. And oh, we gotta kill all these characters because if
And
we
she's torn
don't,
up about it. She has to
yeah,
choose between her father and the unicorns in the world of Luster. And ultimately, she chooses the unicorns because she doesn't want her dad to help murder them.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't blame her, honestly. So we're gonna get into kind of the other thoughts we have regarding different things. You've already tapped into some of this stuff by the kind of like short summary you did of the whole series.
It wasn't short.
But
I'm sorry about that. There's
oh
just
no,
so
you're
much
totally
that happens in this series.
Emily, I my last one that we did for the recording that we did yesterday was long. Like we have much grace for any summary, honestly, in
Look,
this. As long as it's not,
we
yeah.
started this podcast off with I said a short summary,
Yeah.
and then Brianna spent 12 minutes summarizing the
The first
book.
one.
And I was
Yeah.
like, Brianna, you have got to write down your summaries before we record.
Yeah.
We can't do
Yeah.
it
It
12-minute
was
summaries every time.
no. Yeah. And they've gotten better. So yours was
100%.
really yes. Yours was really good. I like honestly
Yeah.
like covered a lot of really important parts. Also
Yeah.
some like very interesting side bits. It's great.
You were
Uh
fleshing out some of the world building like while also summarizing sort of the plot. So I
yeah.
think it was good.
It was. So we're gonna, since you said world building, we're going to talk about the world building in this. Um, so during this series, and this may like you may have some more insight into this, but specifically in the first book, we only are going to two places technically. It's Earth and Luster. And Earth is Earth. We spend very little time on it. It's literally some small town. It's winter kind of a vibe. And then we head to Luster, which is feels very like I see like a typical fantasy because it's got kind of that like it's kind of spring like because that's what honestly a lot of fantasy series start off with. It's like springtime and stuff. But so like those are kind of the vibes we've got with both of them. Is there any insight you kind of want to give about the world at large, Emily, since you've read all of the books?
Yeah, so like the world is like fairly vast. And I think the unicorns are kind of the first ones who ended up there, but there's also dwarves. There's actually humans that go around. There's like a human that you meet in the first book named Thomas the Tinker.
Hmm. I love
He
him.
tinkers. And he's actually a really sweet character in the book. But there's also other groups of like entertainers and people that live there. There is, I wouldn't call her like a wizard or magician, but she's heavily connected to the earth and
Mm.
has powers to like sense in the earth. Her name's Mgama, and she's like such a cool character. Um, and so there's all these really interesting characters that they bring in that live in the world. Um, there are seasons in Luster. You find out that they're going to, I think, Summer Haven at the
Mm.
end of the book where the court is
Oh,
held, but when the
yeah.
seasons change, they actually move.
Oh, that's cool.
The
Oh,
unicorns move. So there are seasons in Luster.
Mm.
And we also know that there's some other species that live there aside from just the humans and the Delvers, which are the kind of evil dwarves. They're not truly evil,
Hmm.
but they're
yeah.
being influenced by
Hmm.
their leader, who's like kind of a dictator, who is being
Hmm.
influenced by the Whisperer.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
they have redemption kind of at the end. They have a guy who kind of goes against everyone to actually help the
Mhm.
unicorns, and he's a really good character.
Because there was a guy, one of them in the very first book that was like,
It's the
our
same guy.
boss, it's the same guy. Ugh, that is so
Yeah,
cool. I
Okay.
love
he ends
that.
up they find out that he did that and his punishment is they take his name.
Oh.
And so when he
Mm.
joins up with the gang, Kara gives him the nickname Rocky.
Oh,
That's
And
cute.
later his friend Delvers, like his cousins and stuff, end up joining him and they
oh,
all
that's cool.
choose nicknames. It's actually very sweet.
That's
Like we want
adorable.
one too. Oh, that's great.
And so seeing like the Delvers is really interesting. There's like giant worm creatures. There are
Cool.
multiple dragons in the world.
Mm.
We meet Firethroat in the first book, but like I
Mm.
said, there's a few others. And there's also centaurs. The centaurs also fled Earth. We
Mm.
find out that they actually would love to go back, but
Okay.
don't know that it would be safe anymore.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of magical creatures fled because humans were killing them
Yeah.
and hunting them. And
Surprise,
so
surprise.
they have a special area of Luster that's kind of just for them that they don't really branch out of until the end when they realize something's happening to Luster. The entire world is like collapsing in on itself, and they kind of head for this tree, which is like the center and like kind of the life force of
Mm.
Luster.
That's cool. It's like
Is there
World
anything
Tree. It's like
world? Oh
it's,
yeah.
it's like the World Tree, but it's also I'm thinking maybe it's totally off the wall, but the in the Final Fantasy VII Advent movie, and
Oh
I'm
my
sure
gosh.
potentially in the actual Final Fantasy VII like lore, I just don't
Yeah.
remember most of that. There's something about Gaia.
Yeah. The without going off into a completely different thing. There's the life stream in
Yeah.
that, and the life when people die or plants die or any of that kind of stuff, it goes back into the planet to re-energize it. And the whole plot of that video game, which at some point, guys, we will talk about because Final Fantasy is one of my things.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
yes. That whole plot of it is basically like the evil corporation is stealing it
Mm,
and doing all the stuff that's destroying the planet, and then also
sure.
big bad Sephiroth is actually the harbinger, yeah, the harbinger of doom on everything. But yeah, so like there's like a in that one like this concept of death and rebirth, and it's like
Hmm.
feeding back into the planet. And Gaia is the name of the planet, I think is
Mm,
what it is and
Yeah,
everything.
Luster's not quite the same. There's almost like a
mm,
core that's like holding
Yeah.
it
mm.
together. And when the hunters finally enter, they enter at that core, which
Okay.
starts to destroy it. And
Oh,
so they're not
yeah.
necessarily intentionally destroying it,
Okay.
but
Okay.
in destroying it, they also know they'll destroy the unicorn. So they're also not really trying to
We're not
stop
upset
it.
about it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when the hunters come over, they also bring groups of women and maidens to lure the
Oh,
unicorns.
okay.
But
I
one
see
of
what they
these
did there.
maidens sees the hunters slay a unicorn and is so disgusted and horrified because the hunters are raised to think that like unicorns are like evil, monstrous beasts
Mm,
that like are bloodthirsty. And so when she
Yeah.
realizes that they're very majestic and gentle, she feels horrible and she runs away and she ends up joining with the
nice.
unicorns,
Of
teaches the
course.
unicorns about the art of war. Like they reference the book, The Art of War,
Oh my
because they're like,
gosh.
yeah, I know you guys aren't
So
violent,
good.
but like you have to learn like subterfuge and like you have to learn how to like do a surprise attack.
That is so
And
That
good.
that is
so
great.
like the leader, yeah, also at one point the grandmother goes back to unicorn form.
Okay.
The old one passes because she's very old and ready to move on.
Oh,
So the
okay.
grandmother
Oh,
becomes the leader of the unicorns.
Uh,
okay.
uh,
So Kara's a princess is
Pretty
what
much,
it
yeah.
boils down
yeah.
to. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
see.
Did they
Classic.
did they get her mother out of 'cause there's the Rainbow Prison,
Yes.
right? That's the
There's like
I
a
have
whole side thing with the father
okay.
who is going on this mission. It's actually how we get introduced to one of the higher beings. Is him and the father are both
Oh,
trying to get to this same plane that is
Hmm.
kind of being used to imprison people, but it's also another way to get to Luster. So we
Okay.
find that the dad's trying to break into this place to get his wife back and figure out how to transport her out. And
okay.
this guy is trying to find a way into Luster because he knows
Mm,
stuff is going down and he's trying to find this person that's like a brother to him.
mm.
Okay. Is that Dimple Thumb?
Yeah, which is the
Okay.
Dimple
I
Thumb.
just
Which is
love
the
that it's
Dimple
the
Thumb.
Dimple Thumb.
Yeah, that's great.
The Dimple Thumb ends up being like a pretty big part of some of the plot points.
Interesting. I love
Okay, I
that.
The Whisperer does
100%
go
need to
after
just
the Dimple Thumb.
Okay. Jeez. Of course.
like
And it ends up turning the Dimple Thumb back into his original form.
oh
Oh.
He then is the person, I'm pretty sure he's the person who helps Kara turn into a unicorn to escape the hunters.
okay.
Oh.
And at the end, one of them is needed to like fight and give to the planet. And one of the brothers, and even though they're not brothers, they're kind of brothers.
Yeah.
Basically, when he made Kara a unicorn, he used up whatever magic was keeping him in his original form, and he turns back into the Dimple
Of
Thumb. Well,
Oh.
him and his brother end up switching places
Oh.
because one of them has to sacrifice himself to save Lester because it was his
Jeez.
creation.
Oh gosh.
So there's some wild, wild
What?
stuff. Like I know it probably
I'm
doesn't make a lot of
sorry.
sense just hearing it, but I want to give you these pieces of information so you actually go and read the books and see how it all fits together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love
I have
that.
errands to run after this, and I'm like, I've got book two on my on Libby now, so
There you go.
bringing my
Like, isn't it
headphones
wild
in.
that this middle grade book gets into stuff like that?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
amount of self-sacrifice and like mercy killing for these book series. Like I just remember like going on walks listening to these books like mouth agape because I'm like, no, they didn't. They just had a 12-year-old like stab a centaur to end his life. He was requesting that she kill him in exchange for something that they need, in
Mm.
exchange for a story to figure out who the Whisperer is.
Yeah.
And no one is willing to kill the centaur because he's their king. And his granddaughter and other people, like, they don't want to hurt him, but they know he wants to be gone. And
Yeah.
so Kara's kind of the only person who can do it.
Jeez.
Sorry, she's gonna need such intense therapy after this. How many
Oh,
people she had to
Absolutely.
mercy kill, which I know is like, at least they want to be, but also, wow.
it does end up being really beautiful though, because the amulet can help transport people back to Earth. And the centaurs have been gone from Earth, and this leader centaur had actually left Earth, and he
Oh,
really wanted to go back before he died. So she
okay.
uses the
Emily.
amulet to bring him back to Earth, so he gets to have some of his last moments on Earth before he passes of old age of well, he would have passed of old age.
Yeah.
He did something to prolong his life, which is why he needs help dying.
Okay.
Why he asks Kara to kill him. And so it's a very beautiful moment. And I'm like, it was just wild
What the
that they had
heck?
this happen in a kid's book. I'm like, Harry Potter could never.
Too true. That's
Like,
great. I love that.
Harry Potter had
In
some dark bits. I didn't really grow up with it, so I'm not like
Mhm.
nostalgic about Harry Potter at all.
Oh yeah.
But these books go in a completely different direction. Um, man, they're
Yeah.
wild. They're so good.
Oh my
That yeah.
gosh.
I feel like they're
Definitely
so underrated. Like, I want to go on forums and have discussions about it, but they're just not there.
yeah. Honestly, that is a lot of the reason why I feel like we did start our podcast. It's not just like nostalgic, but like, yes, people know specifically like we've been doing Redwall. Like there are people
Mhm.
that know about Redwall, but like it didn't get as much hype as certain other things like in the zeitgeist of like popular culture with books and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just nice to be able to talk about these books with either each other or like in this
Mhm.
case talking about the Unicorn Chronicles, like other people who enjoyed it or like were willing to like, oh, let's look into this and stuff. So
Mhm.
that's like one of the fun parts about doing this 100%.
Yeah. I mean, we got a whole list
Something
of.
I want to talk about, yeah, so much stuff to go through. So next, kind of like focusing up on two of the characters specifically that are in the first book and carried throughout the series, I'm assuming. Well, specifically one, Kara. Um, Kara is very interesting, at least what I know of her in the first book and everything. And she like I feel like it's a good mix of she's a kid, but also like let's just put this bluntly, not dumb.
Mm.
Like but still has those kid moments where like she's not doesn't think super clearly about something or she's like asks too many questions at the wrong
Or she's
time
really
kind of
like
thing.
enthusiastic and wowed by some of these
Yes.
Yeah.
things. Which,
Yeah.
to be
Which
fair,
is
I feel like an adult would be too if they were transported into this
Absolutely.
oh
real
yeah.
Yeah.
world.
Absolutely, yeah. But I enjoyed Kara.
Hey guys, Caitlin here. We had a bit of technical difficulty during this question, so I had to delete the audio. Brianna mentioned she likes Kara as a protagonist and then asked Emily her thoughts on Kara.
I think she's actually a very good protagonist. She's very mature, and you find out a lot of this is because her parents disappeared when she was very
Mm.
young. She lived with her grandmother and wasn't super accepted by the people around her,
mm,
and just didn't feel like she fit in, didn't really feel like she was at home,
Mm.
which is one reason why Luster really stands out to her is because she becomes very connected to this place and feels like she has
mhm.
a place there. Um, Probably because she's actually kind of like part unicorn, a quarter
Mhm.
unicorn.
Yeah.
Um,
That'll do it.
and I think that throughout the series, she shows a lot of growth and it does a really good job of like seeing into her head and like how she makes decisions, like kind of what she's thinking.
Mm.
And she's pretty cunning too. Like she's
Mm.
very smart and comes up with a lot of like things to solve problems. Like is pretty a pretty creative problem solver. And that comes in handy quite a bit
Mm.
throughout the
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
And she's very strong. There are multiple times where she's like, I want to break down, but there's literally no time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because you realize she's like a 12, 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like this book series doesn't take place over like several years or
Mhm.
anything. So all of this happens in like a fairly short amount of time.
Mm,
And so it's a lot for a kid.
absolutely, yeah. It's a lot to deal with at that age.
It's
But I
Uh,
even.
thought she was a really good main character. And in the future
Mhm.
books, we see a little less in her perspective. We still see a lot of her perspective, but you
Mm.
start to see
okay.
in other characters' perspective as they kind of branch out and you see some other things that are happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
It's one of the things I appreciated. Brandon, you said something about it earlier about how she through the first book, like she's not sure if her grandma's still alive through the
mhm.
first book. So she's dealing with wrestling with like the hope of, well, there's a possibility she could still be alive, but then also the grief of like what if she's not? And then of course has the long sort of embers of trauma and grief of having her parents not there and not really knowing why they weren't there, but knowing that they just left, having this understanding that they just left and like there's something in the like they didn't want me part of it. To then having to face her dad and having right that longing that she's had. I want to be reunited with my parent, this person who's supposed to love me, but then now I have to choose between him and the terrible thing he's trying to do, the thing I disagree with on a fundamental level,
Yeah.
And he's willing to
and
overpower her for it.
Yeah.
he's willing to take advantage, and it's just it's terrible. But there's still that longing of like, but he's my dad and he's someone I want to be in relationship with. And then you have, but I've made these friends, I have this community, and I have this cause that I believe is right. And now that I'm learning more about this world that I've stumbled into, that I realize I'm really connected to, it's for being again a middle grade book that you're like, okay, your main character, the age of your main character tends to be the age of the person that's like recommended to read it. So you're
Yeah.
thinking like 11, 12-year-old or something like that, 8 to 12 or something. That is not generally in most of the middle grade books that I've read the case with the main characters. There's not that much character depth. And I think Emily, you said it also that we get a lot of her inner world and inner perspective of the wrestle that she has and the group.
Yeah.
I'm just it is in just the first book that I read, I was like, wow, this is really impressive. The writing and all of these things. But to know that that's extended a bit, and then of course the I don't know, wild drama of the rest of the series that I'm
Yeah.
very excited to read. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It definitely
Altogether,
is.
she's a really good protagonist.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did write down Lightfoot as another character to talk about, but I'll kind of actually leave it up to you, Emily. I don't want to spend too much. There's a lot of characters over the course of the series, I'm assuming. Is there any other character that you feel like sticks out and is somebody that we should chat about before we move on and stuff?
Not in particular. I feel like I
Okay.
touched a little on. There's not a ton of characters in the first book
Yeah.
to really flesh out. Lightfoot's just a supportive character, and
Okay.
he's kind of like a teenager in Unicorn years.
Yeah.
And mostly I think he's just a little hopeful and naive, and a couple of the
Mm.
unicorns are kind of grumpy with him.
Okay.
And so it's not as deep of a conflict. Um, but he's just a really good character. He's very supporting. He's a big part of like the whole journey
Yeah.
through most of the books. There are a few times they get separated though.
Okay.
He's not always with the group. Not
Which I do
by
remember you
choice,
talking.
but
Yeah. Because isn't there
um,
like a section, like you said, where he, like, we see from his perspective because he's
yeah.
separated? Yeah.
There's a point where Kara gets kidnapped by Delvers and brought
Of course.
underground,
Mm.
and he's a unicorn, so he can't really go underground.
Oh,
Yeah.
buddy.
Now, who do you think? Oh, actually, no, I do know who I want to talk. I want to talk about the Squidgem.
Okay, I was wondering this entire time we haven't talked about him at all. And I
I'm
was going to
sorry.
bring him up at this point.
I
So
tend
the
to.
Squidgem to me is like Momo from Avatar.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
He's like this weird little creature with a silly little voice, but there's multiple times in the series where you're like, what are they gonna do? Like, what's gonna fix? And like, the Squidgem's like, I have the amulet. Like the Squidgem, there's a few times where like they're locked in a dungeon underground. This is when Kara's kidnapped by the Delvers. The Squidgem follows her scent. She actually ends up throwing the amulet down in this cave, like because she doesn't want the Delvers to get it and bring the
Of course, yeah.
hunters in. The Squidgem gets the amulet and brings it back, and they're able to escape this dungeon
My
because the
gosh.
Squidgem followed her trail because it's really attached to Kara.
For
I
some
mean,
reason.
okay.
And
I
he always
have
goes, Hatcha, good Squidgem.
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, you're a good Squidgem.
I have a very important question. Do we get any Squidgem lore?
A little bit, yeah.
A
You
little
find
bit.
out why he is what he is, and I think he's also the only what he is.
Oh,
Okay.
I
He
like him
was
even.
created by another one of those higher beings
Of
Okay.
course he was.
as like a companion.
Yes. Get it, King.
That makes
We love a
sense.
short king, right, guys? Anyway.
And the
You
Dimple Thumb
love,
is also a really good character, too.
yeah.
A really complex character. When you find out that he's not, like, the Dimple Thumb is not like a species, it's
Mhm.
like literally a punishment that was put on someone.
Mm,
So, yeah, I would say
that's
that that's probably all I could add for characters as
Mhm.
far as I've already given so many other little pieces
yeah,
of information.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more, you're just gonna have to read the books.
too
Absolutely.
true.
I
Yeah.
will say the Dimblethumb and Squidgem, even in my most recent read through of the first book, were my favorite characters. So to know both that the Dimblethumb has even more depth, phenomenal, and to know that the Squidgem is just,
He
I mean,
just squidgems
he
his
just
way through the
Squidgems his way.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you meet the sassy Griffin
Ugh.
who like does not want to be there and will complain a bunch, but also doesn't want to be left out.
Oh my
You,
And
gosh.
he's
that's me
actually he
as a
likes
person.
Kara, but he's salty because apparently he was close with Kara's grandmother and she promised to give him a little kiss on his beak.
Oh,
He gets upset because she didn't come back and give him his kiss.
Oh,
And so
okay.
Kara has to give him a little kiss on his beak to like convince him.
okay. Since we're talking about that, I have to
But it
ask
wasn't
because
like
we
a
didn't.
romantic thing.
No,
I
yeah,
want to stress that it was more like, I want to know what this is. It's very
yeah.
different. He's not a human.
That's great. I love that. I am curious though. You mentioned earlier that it's never actually confirmed about who she gets with to have kids. Who is your theory or like that you think is like
The grandmother.
who gets
There,
with the grandmother? Yeah.
there is a character introduced that definitely had a relationship with the grandmother and is probably the father.
Okay.
We know because when he finds out, oh, this wanderer, because the grandmother does go back to Lester as a human
Okay.
multiple
Mm,
times and
mhm.
doesn't realize that she also used to be a unicorn. So
Okay.
she spent a lot of time in Lester as a human, and people knew her as the
Oh,
wanderer.
okay.
Then I'll connect back to she actually was a unicorn before.
Okay.
And there is a another human character that actually marries her, I think. I think they were married.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So there's a character that is probably the father. It's more that at one point, Kara's like, "Oh, do you want to ask her and see like if you're actually um my grandfather?"
Mm.
And he was like, "You know what? You're gonna be my granddaughter no matter what, so like I don't really need that closure."
That's
It's like
very
Mamma Mia.
that's what I was
And
just about to
that's what
say.
I thought about was
We don't need to know. We're all her dads.
And the rest of us are like, no, we need to know.
get a
We need
paternity
the
test and you can all
closure.
just pretend you're her dad.
There you go, yeah.
Literally, it's not that hard, guys. Come on. You did not have to make an entire two movies about this and a
There's
Broadway.
They don't
there
mention anyone else that the grandmother was romantically involved with.
okay.
Okay.
So there's not like there's another person. It's just not fully confirmed like was he the grandfather? He acts like a grandfather figure in the
Okay.
books. I believe you meet him in the second or third book.
Okay.
Okay.
He's
That's
a part of a
crazy.
traveling group of performers
Oh,
Of
with like
okay.
course he is.
acrobats and like bards and stuff.
I love it.
I love
I
that.
cannot believe I did not finish this series as a child or teenager or whatever. This is
I think
right up
the
my
books were
alley.
hard to find because I remember
Okay.
really liking the books that I read and I wanted to find more and I think I just never did and then I probably got distracted by
Hmm.
the Warriors series or something.
Yeah, that's too true. That
Brianna, did we
yes.
veto that? I can't remember.
We vetoed it because the Warrior series is too like ridiculously complicated.
Yeah,
There's
you'd have to start with like, do we
multiple.
start with series one?
Yes. Okay, we're learning this that
Just
we need
talk
to
about the
start a
first book.
publication. I mean, in eighth grade, not to derail us again. In eighth grade, we in my advanced English class, we took the first chapter of the Warrior Cats book and we dissected it down to like
Wow.
word to word, sentence to sentence, like all sorts of things. So
Of
I love
course.
that part of the reason that Rusty runs away is because he's gonna get neutered.
I know, yeah. Oh,
Oh my
good.
gosh.
And
Look,
the other
if
cat's like, hey, they took my little special bits. Like I just remember it
oh,
was so funny. Like I didn't really have much of a concept about like reproduction. So
I know it's
I
crazy.
remember as a kid that I was like, huh.
Yeah, I mean,
You kind of
I
gloss over it.
absolutely glossed over. I'm like,
Yeah.
like we had a few pets. I don't remember them ever getting spayed or neutered.
At any time we got an animal, they'd already had that happen to them.
Yeah,
Like I
I
knew
don't
what
know.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of understood how things worked with animals, but I did not connect it across all species.
Yeah.
yeah, no.
So it's
I
like, oh yeah,
also,
like I've got a cat. He got neutered, you know.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. I also, this is again, I'll last thing I'll say on this subject before we
Okay.
can move on. I kind of want to read all of them because there are so many of them now. And it's not
There.
just cats, it's wolves, it's bears, it's a bunch of stuff. And I just there's a small part of me. It's not big enough to actually act on it. There's a small
Yeah.
part of me that wants to read them again. Anyway,
Valid. All
moving
right.
on.
So moving on. Emily, since you again read all of them and know them, what is the core of the reason that made you love this series and why it's so nostalgic to you?
I think some of it was the writing was really good and the
Mm,
world felt very like real and magical. It was easy to read, but like I could kind of picture the environment around me.
Mm,
The
yeah.
characters were really engaging and well written.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a decent amount of depth for middle grade, especially Kara.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think I just really connected with that as a kid. That
Mm.
and the unicorn part was like pretty cool.
I mean,
Like I was kind of a horse girl, and so unicorns are like adjacent to horse girl.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I read a lot of horse girl books, and so when I come across this book with this really pretty art and there's a unicorn in it,
Yep.
and like I think when you're younger and you're that age, like you're also kind of like identifying a little bit with Kara.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it is there's another kid in this magical world and like there's complex stuff going on.
Mm.
They're also being chased, so like the story feels like there's some
Hmm.
urgency to it.
Yeah.
Not too much to be
Yeah.
stressful, but enough where you're like, okay, things have to keep moving.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
So
I
I
love
think with
that.
like the first two books, a lot of it was just like curiosity about like what's going to happen next and
Mhm.
how's this all going to resolve.
Yeah.
But I do think the writing was a big part of it. I don't know if you guys had opinions about the writing style, but I feel like it was pretty well done.
Look, something I've said, I think maybe before on this podcast, I've read a lot of books the last 2 years of varying degrees of writing. And I have found that my tolerance for bad writing has gotten less and less the more that I've read
Mm.
actually well-written things. Um, and this definitely did not like end up on that side of like, oh,
Like I
kind of a
feel like
thing
it was
stuff.
easy enough to read for young
Yeah,
kids, but was still descriptive and didn't feel like it was talking down.
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I think that's why
That's
as an adult you can engage with it, A, because there's like actually some pretty like deep themes within the book, but also it doesn't write as if like, oh, you're a kid.
yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
It's like
That's
writing in a really engaging way, and it's not describing things like too much to where you get lost in the descriptions,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
just enough to where like you know what's happening. Like they come across water and Kara's thirsty and she's like, "Can I drink this water? Is it safe to drink?" Which
Mhm.
even thinking that in a book, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's good." She's
Yeah.
smart. She's like, "Will this water make me sick?"
Mm.
And Lightheart, um, sorry, Lightfoot, not Lightheart. Lightfoot purifies the water with his horn.
Yeah.
I doubt that like the water was safe to drink, but him purifying it makes it taste better. And when she
Mm.
drinks it, it describes it as like it was like drinking diamonds.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The
And
thing
so
I
I feel
loved
like the
about
descriptions are like poignant, but also like easy to digest. But it
yeah.
Yeah.
never felt like it was trying to write to children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
It didn't
thing
feel like that was the intended audience. Like if I didn't
yeah.
know, like it just feels like a fantasy book anyone could enjoy. It just
The
happens that the protagonist is young, so you kind of assume it's for a younger audience.
Absolutely. I actually, two things. One is the scene that you mentioned actually is such a great example of the writing because it had a twofold like purpose to it when you
Hmm.
think about it. One was to showcase the fact that yes, unicorns do purify water, but the other one was also to showcase, oh, a character dealing with a real world like
Yeah,
need
they
that
still
they
talk
had to
about like we
address.
need food, we need water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that actually
I
really
want to
like
wash my
solidifies.
face because I've
Yeah,
been wearing the same clothes since I dropped into this place.
absolutely. The other thing, when I was listening to the podcast, listening to the audiobook, the vibes that it gave was like old 90s movie, like
Mm.
old 90s, like VHS, like this is a like adventure story kind of a thing. And that's not a bad thing. It just is like very much making me think of like old 90s like live action not cartoons, live action like shows. It's not for some reason the only one's coming to my brain right now is Goosebumps, but that's not the right vibes.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
know
just
it's
like
technically not, I don't remember. I feel like it was late 80s, but The Labyrinth, I feel like
yeah,
the
it definitely
character's
Mm.
older
yeah,
and there's like a
it's
it's like a similar like someone is entering a new world
yeah,
and there's all this stuff happening
yeah,
without any
definitely.
sort of like weird tension or
Yeah.
Yes.
like romantic tension. None of that in this book.
No, we didn't need that.
There's a few times they mentioned like one unicorn like probably being into another unicorn. Like there's one like super um strong fighter. She's like one of the
Mm.
strongest fighters. Her name is
Ooh,
Belle. And she's like this
love it.
super strong, like cunning unicorn.
Okay.
And she and Lightfoot sort of have like an implied thing. As much as like they're kind of like you notice that they both kind of notice each other and think the other one's cool, but it doesn't really
Yeah.
go too far.
Okay. Yeah.
I did see a review the other day where someone, after Kara becomes a unicorn, they're like, I was kind of like shipping them, and I'm like, they're cousins. Did you forget that?
Okay.
Once it's revealed that they're related by blood, done. We're done.
And like,
Moving on.
none of their banter was ever flirtatious. It was very
No.
clearly like
No.
friends.
Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely in my
She's
brain
also
was like,
13. She's like not, she's trying to make sure that like the unicorns don't go extinct. She's not
yeah,
Yeah.
thinking about that.
And he's like almost 100, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's like a teenager in
He's a
unicorns.
teenager in universe. Okay.
yeah.
Pull a Twilight. How
No,
long have you
Ugh.
been a teenager?
35 years. I'm sorry. That meme online is really funny.
Great. Okay, so we're gonna finish this out with our nostalgia ratings. So, um, Emily, what would you give this from a scale of 1 to 5, a rating of how nostalgic this series makes you feel?
1 to 5 squidgems.
Probably a 4
Mm,
because when I re finally remembered this book,
yeah.
I like instantly had to go find it.
Yeah.
And as I was reading it, I remembered how engaged I was as a kid. Like I didn't remember a
Mm,
whole lot about the story, but as I was like reading the first book, it kind of started coming back. There were things I
yeah.
was kind of starting to like remember. And I just remember thinking it was really interesting as a kid.
Yeah.
It's hard because like I almost have like future nostalgia for it. Like I'm going to be
Mm.
nostalgic about these books.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I do the fact that I remember that I got it at the Scholastic Book Fair
Yeah.
and like I connect it to other pieces of my childhood, my horse girl phase, my like I read
Mhm.
books about unicorns phase,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the fact that this book about unicorns, like you think of unicorns are like this like silly girly girl like My Little Pony type thing,
Yeah.
but then this book like engages with like really deep themes
Yeah.
Yes.
and like with the unicorns themselves. They're like very graceful and perfect, but you realize that the reason they're that way is not natural.
Mm,
Like they're supposed to have some more imperfections, and the reason that they're perfect is also the reason that the world is falling apart
Oh,
yes.
so good.
because
Their own
this evil
hubris.
force that came from the unicorns after they expelled their imperfections is also targeting Beloved and like pushing her forward.
Yeah.
And he's promising things to her and
Yeah.
like speaking to her. And so there's
Mm.
like multiple characters that are being driven to do evil things because they're being like pushed by this force, and the unicorns have to actually accept being imperfect again and embracing being imperfect in order to tackle this problem, which I thought
Yeah.
was a really interesting theme for a kid's
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
was that like you can't be perfect.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because
And
perfection
like
becomes other people's problem.
it actually weakens you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so I was like, those are just really good themes. Like even as an adult, I felt like there were some really good things. So I guess uh I'll just say probably like I want to give it a 5, honestly, just because I'm so
Yeah.
excited about these
Yeah.
books. Um, they're probably not like the most nostalgic books, mostly because I just didn't
Mhm.
get to read all of them as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but in retrospect, it's probably one of the best books I read as a kid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even if I only read the first two.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I
love
feel like they
that.
were just really fun, really good books for escapism,
Mm,
Absolutely.
and honestly, a really good entry into fantasy as a genre where it's not
yeah.
like overcomplicated. Like it gets deeper and there's more elements added as you go, but it's added at a really good pace. The way
Mhm.
I rambled probably didn't make it seem that way, but it's introduced in a
Very
way
good.
that makes a lot of sense and kind of like each book kind of expands the lore just a little bit more
Yeah.
and
That's
kind of like
awesome.
makes the world feel bigger and you get more characters that are connected to different things. And so um I just think it did a really good job and as a kid I recognized that. And as an
Yeah.
adult, this is going to be a nostalgic book series that like I try to convince people to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I
you
love
convinced
that.
me,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what you think.
I absolutely will.
Maybe the next time we do a PowerPoint night,
Yes.
My PowerPoint night will be my thoughts
we
on the
could
last
tag team.
Unicorn Chronicles.
There you
Oh,
go.
yes,
Yeah.
that'd actually be really fun.
We're
I'll
gonna have to
send
be there
you
for like
a
6 hours lecture.
look. We were nearing that with my Midnight Burger PowerPoint. Okay, I was like, guys, come on.
When
Your
you're
husband
passionate
asking
about
all the
something,
questions. Okay, it wasn't just me. Okay,
And my husband was egging you on.
yes,
he was.
asking so
But
many questions, and I was
it's
like, I
because
don't know the answer to this because I'm not a scientist.
it's that's the problem as Jackson is. And
His
Yeah,
brain has literally been like taught that this is how you problem solve is like adding all
I
these
love
things
it.
together.
yeah.
Yes, so, this is great. That's why he should listen to the podcast because,
Exactly.
and then he could get in for the Discord community and talk with other scientists that are part of the fandom. And
There
I
you
will
go.
continue on my merry way.
It is nice where you can just say the science probably makes sense and just accept it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. That's
that's me.
definitely how I go do it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
me. Science, math, most things. I
Oops.
mean, yeah. Anyway,
All
Brandon, what
right.
about you? What's your nostalgia rating?
I probably would give it a like a 3.5 or a 4 for me specifically. Um, I haven't read the whole rest of it, so like I'm
Yeah.
having like vague memories of things and but I have that like again that very distinct memory of finding the book.
Hmm.
Definitely still makes it nostalgic for me even though I didn't remember much of the story and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what I probably like lean more towards a 4 with it
Hmm.
because of that. I'd have to read more of it to maybe see if it like taps into more in the past for me and
Hmm.
stuff
Yeah.
possibly. But yeah,
I
so
feel like
that
the
would be
fact that you even remembered it at all, like there's a lot of books I read as a
Hmm.
kid that I have like I know I read it, but I can't tell you what happened in it.
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
And like I remembered like I never forgot the Squidgem and I never forgot the Dimple Thumb. Like those
Yeah.
are things that like I read the book I'm like, "Oh yeah,"
Yeah.
because I thought in my brain I connected the Squidgem to Momo from Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like in my brain I'm like these two are the same, and so I
Yep.
never
Yep.
forgot.
It's the
That's great.
mnemonic device.
Too true. All
Yeah.
right, Caitlin, what about you?
Um, I I think for me it's probably a 3.5,
Mm.
but if you ask me in about 3 months, it will probably be higher. Like it's only a 3.5 because I don't remember because I've read the first one recently. I don't remember a lot about the second one, but I remember a little bit.
Yeah.
But I haven't read the last 2/5, depending on how you differentiate it.
Yeah.
So I I would say it's a 3.5, but it's a 3.5 that makes me want to reread it or read it so that I
Yeah.
can then, because I have a feeling on Goodreads it's going to be rated much higher. And that like I already want to buy them and I already want to buy like digital copies and so I can read them on the plane and also physical copies and also the audiobooks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I went on thrift books like
Thrift
immediately.
books is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also
Do
buy
that.
the full like from the author's website, the whole
Mm,
series, like
love
in a
that.
box set for like $60 or something,
I did see that
which I actually think is a really good deal for like a box set of books.
Oh yeah,
for
Day and
7 books
age.
for $65 is really good. It's like $10 a book. And you're
yeah,
giving it from the website directly to the author, which
yeah,
Even
is
paperback books are like 15 plus these days.
yeah.
yeah.
So actually that's not a bad price.
No, it's
I
not. Yeah.
would help if
All
I could
right.
spell.
So to kind of finish us out, Emily, is there anything you want to like promote or advertise before we finish out?
Um, I do have um I do art on the side.
Hmm.
You can find me on Instagram at Emily Wiesman. Wiesman spelled Wezeman. Kind
Yeah,
of an interesting last name,
definitely.
but it works. It makes it easier to find me. If you
Absolutely.
want to check out my art, who knows? Maybe I'll be making some unicorn art in the future once I learn how to do horse
Yes.
anatomy.
That is hard from what
Please.
I've heard.
Yeah. You know what that
That's
reminds me
great.
of, Brianna?
What?
Drawfee.
Which part?
The horse,
Oh,
how everybody
Jacob's
hates.
horse.
Hey,
Well, just
horses
how.
are like I have tried to draw unicorns since reading these books, and listen, it's not easy.
No, it's
Which is
just.
also why I'm so impressed by the art on the books.
Yeah, so valid. All right. So thank you so much, Emily, for joining us. And we're going to finish out with our outro like we normally do, guys.
We have
Uh,
to ask a very important question.
oh, what?
Does anybody else have any other thoughts they want to throw
Oh,
in right before we leave?
yes. Any other things you want to throw in there?
I don't think I can throw in any more. I already spoiled some pretty big things.
That's
No
okay.
comments
Just,
about the
read this
Squidgem?
book, so I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Yes. Go and read this book.
Go and read this book.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Readers Clubhouse. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify every other Friday. You can check our episode description for our socials and join us in the Clubhouse next time as we have another guest. Wow, words struggle. Which is my friend and our longtime listener. I tried
My
to laugh.
nemesis.
Your nemesis. Our friend Ben. My friend Ben. He's not really your friend.
He's my nemesis. He's
Your
not my
nemesis.
friend. Yeah.
And we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're not going to do a book. We're not going to do a movie. We're not going to do. I don't think we've done a game yet, but we're not going
We
to do a
did,
game.
yeah, with Robin.
We did. Yep, I knew that. I remembered absolutely doing that. Yes. We're going to do an album by Peter Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be an interesting time. Tune in a couple of weeks for that. Other than that, we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.